Hey, what's going on, guys? We are live. Hopefully, you can hear me okay as we start the day. Taking a look at the markets today, and it's Saturday, so we're still kind of looking at what maybe pre market will look like for Sunday night into Monday. But as we ended the week really green, I wanted to jump in here, cover some stocks in space tech, and actually start with some space tech, including KULR stock, KULR. Like to jump in a little bit to maybe some Starlink connections there with AMD, as well as Rocket Lab and possibly ASTS. That's an interesting one for the cellular connectivity. And then Redwire is another interesting one as well. So as we jump into KULR, let's open it up. It's been interesting to watch. I don't know if you guys were familiar with this move, but I do, just to kind of clear the air on what's going on with KULR. We do have some puts right now. The puts are simply because there's some shorts, there's some bears, and I'm a little bit skeptical recently as they've had some very shaky news articles that to me don't add up. But is that the only thing? Is there also maybe some potential for the stock? Let's jump into it. Three-part analysis. We can go into the chart. Right now, the chart is holding below that 200-day moving average. We've seen it really struggle to break up above that green line. It gets maybe up for just a quick breath of air and then sells off. Of course, when it was around 20 cents, it was holding above that green line and then had its rally up to $5.60, well above the 200-day moving average. But then after that big sell-off, the moving average came back in, and then you started to see this downtrend start since it essentially rocketed up to 560. You start to see it now selling off here, and it's selling off. It's holding below that 200-day moving average, and the overall trend is looking a little bit bearish. Now, as we start to look at what that means, maybe a breakout, maybe we see it get out of that trend. Otherwise, the sell down is here. It's about an 83% sell down. That would be a tremendous sell down. But there's a few reasons why it won't sell down right away, and there's also a few reasons why it could sell down very quickly. I'm going to start with the bad, kind of like the not so good stuff. There is a few things. The first thing is I recently went to a conference. I got the thing right here. It says SpaceX, and it is the symposium. I got to talk with a lot of these: Rocket Lab, Redwire. Got to talk with Black Sky, ASTS, Sabre Astronautics, Lockheed Martin, Air Force Research Laboratory. I got to talk with a lot of those companies because I had a media pass, so I was able to go meet with the executives. And after doing that, the one thing that was interesting, the whole reason why we went there, if you would have searched on Google, is KULR going to Space Symposium 2025, it would say yes, it's highly likely. Yes. If you would have looked at the articles that were coming out, they were saying yes, it's most likely they're going to be there. When I went, they were not present, and that was now a reason why I wasn't able to get and confirm some of the articles that had come out on their website. And because I wasn't able to confirm that, because we went all the way to Colorado Springs, which was good, we got it paid for essentially because of the media pass. That it was a good trip, but nevertheless, they weren't there. We weren't able to confirm things. And so then I was like, all right, they're right next to Lockheed Martin. They're right in the space industry. Wouldn't it make sense that they would be at that event? Well, they weren't. And then this article came out. I think it's called something like Bear Grizzly on KULR. And so, at this point, I was a little skeptical. I was like, why is it that we're not seeing this? KULR stock. There we go. And let me make sure I pull up the chat so I could see you guys here. There was this Grizzly Research LLC, and they normally look at, bears, right? There's a lot of short interest. They normally look at the shorts. And so if we search up, I think it's KULR, There they are. They came out with this article recently, and it was right around the time of the space symposium, and it says exposing the hype, overpromises, insider mistrust, operational chaos, and an everything tech mirage. I mean, they paint a picture of quite a negative outlook for KULR. And just to be fair, this is, a place that specifically focuses. It's called Grizzly Research. So most likely they focus on the bear trends. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I just realized this chat is called Daily Live Trading. That is not good. I will have to change that. Let's see here. And so this is an article that was published to essentially say KULR is not what they say. KULR is looking bearish. Like that's what we're coming out of this, is looking bearish. And here is why. I'm writing the thumbnail as well as talking. There we go. And so we jump into it. What they say is, this is take this with some grain of salt, take this with your own outlook, as it's up to you. This is what they do. They paint that picture. And what you need to know, BlackRock and Vanguard is invested. That's what someone says. We'll go into that. And it says, this is what they say. They say, KULR technology is just a fancy PR machine trying to impress gullible investors with little business success and dim future ahead. Okay? They say that their results in the quarter were inflated by pulling forward millions of dollars in revenue from the recent licensing agreements, even though the payments will be made over the next 3 to 5 years. And the biggest one, which allowed the company to pull forward 1.66 million, was signed 2 days before the end of 2024, and they won't even see full payment until December 2029. So this research says that apparently they've seen that the KULR filed some financials that they're not actually going to see those revenues until a year from now, or in this case, 4 years from when they filed, or 5 years. So then they also say they uncovered multiple occasions where KULR's management projected enormous revenue opportunities and goals, which is fine, but sometimes suggesting a 100x revenue increase after a few years, which is very, very, very maybe bullish, or a hyperbole, is that how you say it? Hyperbole. In reality, KULR is consistently missing the projections. So that's what they're saying. Okay. One of the things that notably stuck out to me, and this is why we're bringing up the KULR outlook, and the question is, are they bearish? The outlook from this report says the total amounts that were awarded and publicly available on government databases that they found were only 97,500 and 1,075,000, respectively, with a combined total of all the government contracts that were listed publicly of 3.3 million. Specifically for NASA, publicly available data reveal a mere total of 1.7 million. And so basically what they're saying is, that's not actually what they reported. They reported that the contracts were much larger than what was reported on the publicly available government records. Now, I don't know if there's always lawsuits. So you can't really use that data. I don't even want to search it. I mean, I'll search it. But is there lawsuits right now? Maybe. Let's see. No, doesn't look like it. There's always lawsuits anyway, so I apologize. I wouldn't even search that. Actually, it doesn't make sense. But the reality is that the article is pretty negative, and I don't want to really focus on it. But at the end of the day, you have to kind of imagine that you are, imagine you're looking to buy the new iPhone, okay? And the new iPhone says we have this camera that is the best camera in the entire world, and it's better than any other camera ever used in the history of phones. And you're like, wow, that's cool. And maybe you buy it, or maybe you're just getting ready to buy it. And then this research comes out and says, actually, that camera, it's not as good as even the Samsung from 2023, guys. And that claim that that company made actually isn't quite right. And then you kind of dive into it and you're like, oh, it's like not as good. That's kind of what it's looking like a little bit here with KULR. It's like one thing that was a little bit elusive as well is that you have the SpaceX contract. So you guys have heard it, and we kind of pointed this out, but people say KULR has a partnership with SpaceX. They're launching their rockets into space with SpaceX, or their batteries into space with SpaceX. So we could do SpaceX, KULR, and then this is what it is. KULR signs a service agreement to launch KULR One space batteries with SpaceX, but the reality is that the launch is something that they're paying SpaceX to do. They aren't getting paid by SpaceX. It's not a partnership per se, and it's definitely not, a contract, although they say it's a service agreement. Or is that even the same article? Let's see, let's find the exact same article. SpaceX. I don't even see the article anymore, but we used to have the article directly on KULR. So let's see if it is there. Go investors. We'll go to announcements. They have announcements here. Let's jump down and see if we can find that specific SpaceX announcement here. Let's see. So KULR stated that they were either partners or they have an agreement with SpaceX. And at the moment, I do not see the article, although we're back to October 2024. So we're back to September now. KULR. It's weird I searched it and didn't come up. Okay. And we don't see it. And so now I'm starting to say, okay, where is that partnership that was happening? Did they take it off their website? Is that something that's happening? I can't find the article. Maybe I need to double search. SpaceX and KULR. Does anybody see it? I'm back to beginning of 2024. I don't think that partnership was that far. Take a further look back. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see the KULR and SpaceX rideshare mission announcement that they previously had on their website. Because we're back to 2023. I don't think it was before 2023. And it's not showing up on when I search it on Google. So what's going on there? Let's take a look. KULR SpaceX. I used to be able to search KULR SpaceX. It looks like the KULR One space battery. Is this it? KULR One SpaceX. All right, this is the original article. I found the article right away. They say agreements to launch the KULR One space battery. The way that they look at this, it's a pivotal milestone. It's ongoing commitments. It's working with SpaceX. And then when I take a look at SpaceX, or you go to SpaceX, this is what's actually happening. If you go over to SpaceX, you go to their website, and let's say you're a company and you want a ride share. That's what we're doing here. SmallSat ride share program. I could send something as low as 325K. I could send something up into space right now. And so what happened is they're paying SpaceX to launch their stuff into space. It's not a partnership. It's not a contract. It's they're paying them to launch it up. So that's what I would look at. I would just keep that in mind when you're looking at KULR now. The Bitcoin play, I personally love the idea of investing in Bitcoin, but are they selling their own stock to buy Bitcoin? Let's hear about it. I haven't heard that. But if they do that, that's diluting investors. I don't see that as very good. So then you take a look at their chart. It's got this downtrend right now, and it would make sense in this case that it could sell down more. I mean, I'm looking at it from this case of actually having some puts at this point, and I would expect possibly that we could see this direction continue down. So if KULR does continue down, then that would be from here like a sell down of 50 to 80%. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong. And it's possible that it goes up as well, and we see it, break out. And at this point, it's kind of just, seeing how it reacts with the rest of the market. The space market rallied pretty hard, but it didn't too much. It rallied about 3%, while some of the other companies rallied 3, 5, 10, 15%. So we'll have to see how it reacts at market open on Monday. And thanks for that, Johnny. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was able to find the article. But again, so you got to keep that in mind. When it comes down to KULR, we'll be monitoring it closely. Am I full bear all the way out? No, I'm not. But in the near term, to look at some of the articles that are coming out and where its overall direction is, I think that it's pretty, it makes sense for me that it would potentially get rejected here and continue down. And so that's why we'll be watching to see how that plays out. The next stock we wanted to jump into, guys, if you have any tickers, drop them below. But the next one I wanted to jump into was Rocket Lab. We jumped into Rocket Lab a little bit, and actually, I had a lot of people asking me about Redwire. So maybe we'll jump into Redwire really quick. Redwire stock, as we know, has signed some big contracts as of recently, right around the Space Symposium. They were one of the companies that we actually covered in depth. We were able to meet some executives. And if I go to the channel and I go to videos and we go back a month or 3 weeks, let's see, top 15 space stocks, Redwire right here. You see that video? Not a lot of views, but hey, we got to go directly and see Redwire. They went up 30% on this big announcement for funding and contracts. We covered it. I got to go meet some executives there. And then at the time of that announcement there, ever since then, the stock has rallied pretty significantly. From that day, that was right here, they've rallied about 68% up. So as you can see, they're starting to recover, maybe continue up, and the overall direction just broke above that 200-day moving average. And we know that they have some technologies related to satellites, some technologies related to optical equipment that can go onto satellites and be able to recognize different things that are happening on Earth, or different sensors that can recognize what's going on in space as well, and what's going on up in, let's say, all the debris around, and what are the solar flares, the temperatures, are there any asteroids or meteors around there, and they have that type of technology. And that was part of why when we were looking at that here is like you see some military, there's like a military general and some people from the US Space Force as well. They were on the panel talking about the technology that they plan to use with Redwire. So that's why I think they have some momentum now, and they're starting to, based on the chart, they just broke out above that 200-day moving average. Looks like the trend lines, there was this previous resistance, support, resistance right here, and also support there that it just started to break out above, which is quite bullish. And then the next levels that they would most likely face are right in here. You see this resistance, 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 some support as well, resistance. So I would imagine that this next level up here to $14 to $15 is the next level to reach. And then after that, possibly up to here. And as we know too, it is in between these levels with a little bit of an oversell right here. The whole market sold off a little bit there. And you can see that right now it's breaking above. So this is a 23-25% potential increase. And then if we see it break above there, really continue a bull trend, it's about a 60% increase. And if we see it get back up to previous highs, which would be, perfect storm, it's about 100 to 120% from here. Now, again, it's at a key level. We'll see if it holds around $12 right now. It just broke up 11% on Friday. So we'll see if it maybe corrects down a little bit. We could expect that, especially if we're going to zoom in and really look at the near-term trend. So you take a look, start to see this level. So you have this support and resistance going up, and you have this resistance right here. And you can get rid of these. And you can see that the overall trend here with Redwire is looking a little bit more on the bullish side, but that the RSI and the MACD as of right this moment do look a little bit overbought. You see the RSI, MACD looking overbought. So before we see that move maybe take place up to that $15 range, which would be, again, a 25 or 30% increase, I could imagine they would sell back down here. It looks pretty overextended at the moment. Maybe we see it sell back down here to what would be in this $11.50 range on Redwire. It's about a 6% sell-off from there. So maybe, the course of 2 days, Monday, Tuesday, start to see 2% here, 4% there, or 3% there. Yeah, I think that could make sense. Maybe dragged out a little bit, but overall uptrend starting to look really good on Redwire. And then, of course, the overall after that big sell-off with their big news with the funding, it's looking good. So that's how the chart looks there for RDW. When you take a look at RDW financials, their market cap's just under $1 billion. Financials were looking okay. You see about 60 to $100 million in revenue. So you got revenue quarter over quarter. They're actually kind of holding. You got slight increase into quarter four. And then they missed their net income. It looks like they had a lot of investment back into their own company, but that they signed that contract they were mentioning after these earnings. So we'll have to see what the next earnings look like. I would imagine they're going to be very favorable. The newsroom, if you head over to it, looks like it was back here early April where they got awarded this contract from Thales Alenia Space to provide docking systems for the European habitation module on the Gateway Lunar Space Station. So that's a really big accomplishment to be the main tech to go on that space station. So they have that contract. And then this was actually the sign, the iSpace US. I was here for this announcement over in Colorado. I'm in California now, but I was in Colorado for this trip. And they signed this at the symposium. It's a maximum contract value of $2.6 billion. So that's a huge influx of cash that they could see as a result of some of their tech catching on. And they're a relatively new company. I think if we go back and we look at when they were started, 2020 was when they were founded, June of 2020. So not even 5 years old. And they just signed a really large contract. So I think we might see it pick up. And seeing some of this level up in this $15 range could make sense. Just might take some time to get there, but that's how it looks. The near term, though, if we see that sell down, maybe at market open, we get that dip, we'll be watching because, again, that trend right there could make a lot of sense to potentially take advantage of. So we'll see how it goes at market open. Tyler says, shoot, I have some options on KULR. Yeah, I mean, take a look, do your own research, come up with a plan based on what you have there and what you recognize as valuable or not valuable with the company. Yeah, personally, I just didn't see the intrinsic value right now. And I also didn't find full integrity in their marketing to what they were doing. Didn't find integrity. So intrinsically, we try and choose companies, whether it's an AI company or it's a quantum company, maybe it's a space company. We want, no matter what, even if it's short-term, mid-term, long-term, the intrinsically valuable companies are going to give you the highest probability of positive returns. So that's what we're looking for time and time again when we're investing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the live session. Wanted to go live for a little bit. No, it's a little bit of a later live stream here, and it's probably late on the East Coast. But thanks for tuning in, Johnny. Thanks, Vineeth. We took a look at DATS yesterday. If you want to check it out, go over to my channel. Live stream. Nothing's changed in the stock since. It was a live stream yesterday right here. So we talk about that company there, as well as Applied Digital and some others. So again, if you want to take a look at that stock, I just won't be covering it here as it didn't meet our value criteria. So appreciate you all. Tammy, thanks for tuning in. Tyler, thanks for tuning in. And if you guys ever want to join us live at Market Open on Monday, we just opened up our new Stockmate offer. So if you guys are interested, what you could find here, Stockmates fundamental analysis. So we did some fundamental analysis today going into earnings, but really how to do technical analysis on your own, how to do the fundamentals, and the program books. We got the Profitable Trader. We have some books on Robinhood investing, as well as private messaging groups where you can ask me questions or anything like that. And of course, our daily live sessions. So if you ever want to tune in at Market Open, we have those as well. And I would love to have you guys there at Market Open. Again, that sale is going to be ending here soon. It looks like 3 hours left. So if you guys want to take advantage of it, again, it's the second link below. Got a special huge discount for you guys right now. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Firing your thumbs up. Make sure to hit the like button. Do consider subscribing if you guys enjoyed. And looking forward to covering some more in the near future. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.